Hey, good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, as you can see, it is an absolutely beautiful day here today. Plenty of sunshine coming in. All the systems have been full, even with the dark and rainy days of the past few days. I'm healing up from what I'm calling the shark bite. Yeah, they cut you big for that stuff. Doing good, and I've got a very fun review to show you guys today. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous though. Yeah, you just can't beat this. About 74 degrees right now. Sun beating down on every solar panel out there, as well as the back. Water overflowing. Everything is in great shape. And I am just days away from a very special 3rd year anniversary. And that is the day that I started the channel, and also the day I got my first lithium iron phosphate batteries, which now those very first ones that I got 3 years ago are being fed by this 1,000 watt solar panel array. 2 different strings, 500 watts for each string. And let's go in and see those bad boys that I started with 3 years ago. And also, that's when I started with all of you 3 years ago. Pristine conditions. So yeah, right here is where it all started. Back here in the utility room of the main house. And the very first battery of a lithium iron phosphate chemistry that I ever got was that bad boy right there. 12.8 volt 300 lithium iron phosphate battery from Chin's. And when I was switching over from a lead acid bank that was dying, and I was researching the lithium batteries that were coming to become more popular, I decided I was going to jump into it, and that is the very first one that I got. And it's 3 years later now, and I'm going to give you a rundown on how it's been working. So I started with one, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and talk about this journey of switching over to lithium and showing how I live on solar. But that was the very first one. And then I quickly added a second one because I immediately started loving how well this worked and how it just outshined lead acid. And why? Well, with the lead acid bank that I had in here before, you know, you can really only cycle 50% of your lead acid batteries without degrading them. Whereas lithium, you can drain them 100% if need be. Now, I typically don't do that. In fact, I actually never do that. I have enough redundancy in my systems now that I can just switch over to a different system if these are getting low, but they're not getting low at all. And so, yeah, I added a second one, tied them in parallel to make a huge 12 volt battery bank, 600 amp hours. And I have surplus power. And then, as I showed you guys over the past few years how I've added on to this, you know, I put a 3,000 watt pure sine wave inverter. That's from Reliable Electric. That thing has been on 24/7 since the day I hooked it up, which has basically 3 years as well now. Yeah, and I never turned it off. It's never failed me. It's a great inverter. It was fairly reasonably priced, and I think they're even way cheaper now. And then a lot of you guys showed me and told me how to, you know, add on and have everything hooked up correctly. So that 1,000 watt array, I've got 500 watts coming into this charge controller. That's a Victron, of course, smart solar, you know, with a Bluetooth You can just look at your devices and see exactly what's going on with that. 500 watts into that one. I put another one in, 500 watts there. And I have the ability to add even more solar to this system if I wanted to. And then over time, I, added some solar panel disconnect switch. So I can just come in here, pop that cover open, turn my solar panels off. I put a 50 amp breaker between each charge controller. So I've got one there coming off of this one, and then I've got one here coming off of this one. So I can just, at a push of a button, disconnect my charge controllers after I have disconnected my solar panels. I've added a main cutoff switch. So if I ever come in here and make any adjustments, like the other day I had that blue smart charger in here, which is a great charger in case you ever have to fire up a generator. But since I'm never having to do that anymore, I moved that up to the workshop, the bungalow, and before I start disconnecting anything, like when I took that out the other day, I come in here. Well, first of all, I turn off the solar panels, and then I disconnect my charge controllers, and I come down here, disconnect the battery for safety, and then even take the positive off the battery bank. So there's no chance of when I start turning wrenches in here that there's any kind of a problem. And then I've got a couple of bus bars here. Got a 200 amp fuse there between the inverter and the battery. Got another 200 amp fuse there. Got that Q-work shunt, which acts as a gas gauge. Shows you exactly what the state of charge is of your battery. You can see right there that it is charging all the way up to 100% full today, because as you saw, those solar panels are really cranking right now. And I'm already at 94.9% full, so it's a full battery already, but it's on its way to float. But so yeah, back to these, my first love of lithium iron phosphate. Running 24/7 for 3 years, and they are just fantastic. I can't speak highly enough about them. And I know tons of you guys have chimed in and told me that you got chins as well, and we're all loving them. So they have done absolutely fantastic. And when I first took those chins up, I didn't actually have a MPPT solar charge controller, and this was the first one that I bought and hooked up to those chins. And this is the EP Ever, and it worked well. And then I over time gravitated towards the Victrons. I like the Victrons better. This worked absolutely just fine, and here's a little programmable MT50 that connects to that, but it hasn't been on, and it's just sitting here. In case I do need it as a backup, I can quickly plug it in. But yeah, that's how I started, was with that one first. So I learned about the MPP charging. Before that I wasn't using anything like that, but once I got onto lithium, that's what I went with. And of course now it's all MPPT charging. And the reason I use that is because, this basically has a brain in it, and the MPPT is a good brain too. So after this is all tied in, you can just call it plug and play. All I have to do is come in here and look at the gas gauge. That's what I call it, is a gas gauge. But it's just a state of charge indicator. How full is your battery bank? And for 3 years, now that I've got it built up this way, I don't have to think about this at all. It just runs. I pop back in here, once a day just to see, like, yep, got up to a full charge, got up to a full charge. These things show absolutely no degradation over the past 3 years, where if I was still running lead acid batteries, you know, I would be starting to see some degradation now. But this is fully 600 amp hours of power ready to go. Where when I had, basically the same amount of lead acid before, you have to cut the usage or the available power in half. So if I had a 600 amp hour lead acid bank in there before, you know, only 300 were really available, because once you start drawing down below that on lead acid, that 50% level, you know, you do start to get some degradation and shorten the lifespan. But these could very well outlive me. Yeah, and I was so excited, as all of you have known over the past few years and have watched me, and I still am excited about the lithium, and now I've tried other brands and they work just as well. But there was the first love. Happy anniversary, babies. Really, really nice batteries. So, time flies, my friends. I can't believe it's been 3 years since this all began, and there's a lot more to show you. Forgive me not wearing a shirt today, but I'm trying to dry up my shark bite a little bit. It's the first day it's catching some air. Took the bandages off. Feeling pretty good about that. Get the pathology next week, and I expect good results. And we'll just keep rocking out and keep talking about solar and off-grid lifestyle. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate you all. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are on this Aloha Friday. All systems go. Aloha. Yeah. Feeling pretty good. Beautiful day.